So I've just seen an article about how everyone's getting the information wrong about the Online Safety Act. And we're going to talk about it because it's absolutely absurd. Everything the right and the left are getting wrong about the Online Safety Act. Written by George Berlinge? Don't know. New limits on what can be seen online have drawn consternation from Nigel Farage and progressives alike, yet much of it is based on misinformation. Last week, the UK's Online Safety Act came into force, and it's fair to say it hasn't been smooth sailing. Donald Trump's allies have dubbed it the UK's online censorship law. The thing is, it is an online censorship law. Now, obviously, they can parade around and say it's for the protection of children, which is the equivalent of me stealing your car and then saying it's good because now you won't run out of fuel. The truth is, it's not just corn that's getting censored. All sorts of other content is also being censored, and even the BBC, which is a government-owned organisation, have identified that many news-related topics are being hidden from people who haven't done face verification checks. Disdain from the right isn't surprising. After all, tech companies will now have to assess the risk their platforms pose of disseminating the kind of racist misinformation that fueled last year's summer riots. What has particularly struck me, though, is the backlash from progressive quarters. New YouGov polling shows that Labour voters are even less likely to support age verification on porn websites than Conservative, Liberal or Democrat voters. None of us have an issue with the fact that it's been done on porn sites. This is a prime example of the media twisting the information. None of us have an issue with it being the porn that's being filtered. We have an issue that it's just being applied to absolutely everything and that the government feel that they have the right to access the information. On top of that, they're now farming this out to third-party companies to manage this data for us. Companies like Yoti, Verif, and all these other third-party platforms, which, by the way, many of them have been hacked repeatedly over the past 6 months to a year. It's not the content that they're restricting us from that bothers us, it's the restriction in general. And ignoring that as part of your argument just shows that you probably shouldn't be a journalist and you should get back on the cook chair. Cool, now I've got your attention. If you're looking to browse the internet safely, you know the rap sheet. Private internet access have been a big supporter of the channel. They've supported me on my main channel for years. And if you want to get private internet access VPN, get 4 months free and 86% off, use the link down below. Recently, my videos have been getting demonetized, so if you want to stay safe, secure online, supporting the channel by signing up to private internet access at the link below does me a world of wonders. I love you. Right. So the next bit of this, the next bit of this article tells you everything you need to know. Are you ready? Let me just compose myself. I helped draft Ofcom's regulatory guidance setting out how platforms should comply with the Act's requirements on age verification. Do you know who else worked for Ofcom? You know, one of their founders, William Perrin, the guy that wrote the Online Safety Act. Check the last video I posted. It goes through all of the details on that. But yeah, bias much. Because of the scope of the Act and the absence of a desire to force platforms to adopt specific technologies, the guidance was broad and principles-based. If the regulator prescribed specific measures, it would be accused of authoritarianism. The problem here is that all of these companies are now having to adopt different ways to verify people's ages, and for the most of them, it means setting up new technology, new systems on which are going to piss off their user bases, therefore costing these companies money. It's understandable that these companies wouldn't like this, and more to the point, and more importantly, the UK government decided that rather than investing their own money and own resources into creating an online verification system that's owned, run and managed by the government, they'd outsource this to third-party private companies, which, by the way, some of which trade on the stock market, which many people are set to benefit by these laws being introduced, and a lot of those people tend to be really rich, wealthy people with connections with the government that are set to benefit from this regulation. Despite these challenges, I'm in support of the principles of the Act. Yes, everyone's in support of protecting children's safety. We all are. No one has a problem with the goal that we're being told about. Everyone has a problem with what the Act actually does. You can make decisions about the future of the country and vote at 16, but you can't view many different news websites unless you've verified your age. The truth about what's actually happening in the world through news and various platforms is being hidden to the younger population, yet they've been given the golden ticket to vote and make changes about the country. And you seem to think that there's absolutely nothing suspicious nor wrong about that. As someone with progressive politics, I've always been deeply concerned about the impact of unregulated online world. You mean you're worried about your feelings getting hurt? Bad news abounds. X allowing racist misinformation to spread in the name of free speech. The thing is on X, there is racism. There's all sorts of agendas being pushed. There's people that don't necessarily have national pride, but they have a problem with people of other races, and they go too far with it. And things like encouraging harassment or incitement to violence are crimes and should be crimes. But if you go on X and you're seeing loads of people saying, I don't like this person, I don't like that person, the Online Safety Act doesn't stop that from happening. And the truth is everyone has gravitated to VPNs, because we know that when we see something we don't like on the internet, we avoid it. And young children, and you need to give children more credit for the ability to critically think. They have access to the internet, the good and the bad. If they're young enough to not be able to assess what they're seeing on platforms such as Twitter, then parents should be parents, and their parents will have to deal with the consequences of whatever that child spits out their mouth because they read a tweet on Twitter. Now, I'm not here to deny that some people do get radicalized by social media, the same way that people got radicalized from books, the same way that people joined cults, the same way that they're going to be able to do it with or without the Online Safety Act. The truth is most of this radicalization content and the really extreme stuff that is harmful to children is on the dark web. What happens when you regulate the surface web so people can't visit anything that they want to visit online? They gravitate towards the dark web. But through things like Tor browsers, children are way more likely to access really bad content than some hateful messages on Twitter. Children are not stupid. They've grown up with the internet. They're figured this out. They are figuring this out. Bad news abounds, X allowing racist misinformation to spread in the name of free speech, and children being radicalized or targeted by online sexual extortion. In regards to what you've just said there about online extortion taking place of young children, yes, it does happen. Do you know where that extortion gets even worse? The deep web and the dark web, which is where this act pushes children to. So what does the act actually do? In short, it requires online services to assess the risk of harm, whether illegal content such as child... What? Right, a website that has that material on their website is not going to be obeying to some law about online regulation for their own site. They're not going to be introducing Face ID systems to see that. Yeah, because all of the sites with Nazi content on it are now going to start checking your ID. No, they're not. They're already breaking so many laws by having it. They're not going to start conforming to the UK government. This is a straw man argument. The thing that you're saying is going to be fixed by this is not an issue that's going to be fixed by this. And more to the point, you're driving children to the place where this stuff does exist. The rest of the article is this guy going into his manifesto about his own personal opinions on it. And you know what? He's entitled to have these opinions, and I'm entitled to say he's a bit of a George Billing is a former Ofcom policy manager and is CEO of tech consultancy Illuminate Tech. Let's have a little gander. Ah, well, that makes sense. This is his business. It's almost like he financially profits from the Online Safety Act. This guy's entire business model relies on fear-mongering about child safety on the internet. He's hoping that people will see his articles, therefore go to his website, and then hire him to do the risk assessments for their businesses about implementing things like the Online Safety Act into their business workflow. So far, everyone that I've seen that support this act is either virtue signaling or they're financially benefiting from it. Anyway, thank you for watching me rant for however long this video is. Make sure you check out private internet access at the link below and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.